Church. It's a pleasure this morning to hear testimony. I think these times of testimony are always just so powerful. It's one thing to read the Bible and to see with our eyes, maybe as we read the words, just the life of the power of a life transformed through the Holy Spirit. But it's another thing to see with our eyes a brother or sister and hearing their words as they share the work of God in their lives. And so this morning we have the privilege of hearing shepherd of Spain House Church, Alex Pack. He's going to be sharing just how God is moving in him and working to transform him throughout this sermon series, Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. And so let's give him a warm encouragement as he comes to share his testimony.
Howdy. Happy Sunday. Alrighty. Okay. As we all know, Deal has been leading our church through a sermon series titled Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. And his prayers were that it would bring about deep inner transformation and not simply outer change. I remember after the first message, praying to God, asking that he would take me through the surgical-like process to become an emotionally healthier individual. And oh man, I got to be honest, just be careful what you ask for. Because at that time, I didn't grasp the extent of internal, personal struggle that I would soon endure. The one word I would use to describe this current season is wrestling. There's a couple things I've been wrestling with. I've been wrestling a lot with how I view my family, particularly my earthly father. Along with that, I've been wrestling through deep-rooted sins, such as desperately seeking the approval of others, worrying about my future, not fully trusting in God's plans, and an overall condescending view of myself. And this is really strange because, I truly believe that I dealt with these issues during my early stages of walking with the Lord. Yet, as our God has been shining a light on these subjects through this current sermon series, I realize how I, like many other brothers and sisters, just bury these issues and move on instead of wrestling through them. So here I am today. And I got to be honest with you guys, it truly does feel like a surgery. It feels like I'm being cut, and it hurts. Throughout the sermon series, I've been reading this devotional book, which is actually based on the book that Dio's preaching about. It's called the Emotionally Healthy Spirituality devotional book. And through that, I've been clinging on to the story of Jacob wrestling with God. As we all know, Jacob was a deeply flawed and fearful individual. He wrestles with God. He gets his hip dislocated, yet he clings on until God blesses him. Jacob is then told, your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome. This really resonates with me because it reminds me that when we wrestle with God, it's because he has more blessings for us in the wrestling than without it. Our wrestling not only brings us closer to God, but can bring that deep inner transformation only if we're willing to cling on to God, just as Jacob refused to let go until he was blessed. I'm reminded that God is not only a father who will provide for me, he is a father who really wants his children to grow. He wants me to grow. This is a quote. He allows wounds in our journey in order to move us out of an unhealthy state, to truly transform us from the inside out. Yeah. So there are a couple, potentially rad changes coming up in my life. One word I'm thinking of starts with an M and ends with an erge. Yeah, cool. God has blessed me with a compatible job with great pay and benefits. He's provided for me in so many ways, but I can see he doesn't just want to stop there. God is now preparing me for a next season of life, and he wants me to grow, and I'm going to continue to cling on to him. With the encouragement of the sermon series and fellow brothers and sisters who lovingly call me out and lovingly point me to Christ, I took a step of faith and started attending counseling sessions at the Reformed Theological Seminary, which is where our pastor DL graduated and my homie Josiah is currently attending. I've only had 4 meetings so far, but it's already been such a helpful way to process through these deep-rooted issues. I thank God for giving me this resource. One important topic that's been crucial in understanding myself is how I view my family. And here are just 3 quick thoughts that I've been able to articulate in my mind. Just 3 thoughts. As a child, when I wronged my father, I was afraid and deeply disappointed in myself. Today, when I wrong others, I'm intensely ashamed. There are many unknowns in my family's past, a lot of questions still unanswered. Maybe that's why I feel like I always need clarity, backup plans and confirmation regarding my future. And the last one, I feel that I failed so much in the eyes of my parents. And today, I think I naturally envision myself inevitably failing. And when I see other people fail, I see myself failing more. And these have been difficult to reflect upon and more. And it really does feel like a surgical process. But these heavy discussions have led me to potential true transformation. And I know these wounds will be worth it. So maybe you guys are in the same boat as me. My encouragement as we finish these next couple of sermons and move on is that whatever it may personally look like to you, maybe just deeper discussions in house church, or maybe taking that step of faith to go to counseling or have that heavy discussion with a loved one, whatever it may look like, I pray that we would not be afraid to wrestle through these personal issues, knowing that it can bring deep inner transformation and bring us closer to God. And it certainly did that for the deeply flawed Jacob. It was out of his weak place of dependence, transformation came, and he ended up birthing that nation, Israel, that would be a blessing to a world. And what a powerful testimony of transformation that could ring true in our own lives as well. There's this quote I'm going to end with that's from that devotional book that really stuck out to me. When these wounds come, we can deny them, cover them, get angry with God, blame others. We could do all that. Or, like Jacob, we can cling desperately to God. So today, moving forward, I pray that we would all cling on to God through our wrestling, that we would aim to be an emotionally healthy individual. For sure, it's going to be really hard, but man, it's going to be totally worth it. Thanks.